Hello, gorgeous souls. Welcome to this video on the Aries full moon, also wrapping up this eclipse portal. There's a big focus specifically around this Aries full moon on relationships and on relationship dynamics. And then if we zoom out more, closing of the eclipse portal, and we still have the North Node moving through Pisces into 2026. There's this bigger theme about our relationship with God, with Source, with our higher self, and even with the collective energy. And more than ever, as we move through October, the question that's really in the spotlight is how we balance this dynamic of existing in harmony with these relationships in our life, but also the Aries vibe, the moon in Aries, claiming our sovereignty and having a deeper awareness of the energies we have become entangled with, because that determines the narrative we play out in our life and for the planet. So, really becoming aware of what is that narrative, because it begins with the energies we are entangled with. And this Aries full moon really reminds us of the power of coming back home to our sovereignty and our soul blueprint and standing in that space. But of course, being on this planet, we are not alone and we're also all interconnected. So we're going to explore this dynamic more today. I want to take a moment to welcome you here. If you're new, welcome. I love getting to know the people that are part of my community. So say hi below. I would love to hear your top three in astrology, which is your sun, moon, rising. If you're really well versed in astrology, share your favorite thing about your chart. Do you have something about your birth chart, like a certain stellium or aspect or alignment that you love? I would love to hear that. Maybe you're new to astrology. You're like, I don't even know how I found my way here today. And if that is the case, I'm so glad you did. And I know for certain it is not by accident. And share your zodiac sign below. That is one placement that many of us know, and I promise you'll be hooked from there. And you'll also learn a lot just through following these videos. You'll learn more about astrology. So, with that being said, let us dive in. I'm going to pull up my chart in a moment here, but just some other messages that are flowing through as we welcome in the Aries full moon, but also move into Q4, the final 3 months of the year. A lot of people can tend to go into this energy of wrap up and completion, but if I look at the cosmic alignments and energies right now, oh, there's a lot of momentum building. There's a lot you can create between now and the end of the year. You can create more in these next 3 months than you have created in the past 9 months. And the message that's been flowing through in the records, and when I first received this message many years ago in the records, it was game changing for me. The Akashic records really showed me that the universe doesn't work on time, it works on energy and frequency. And I became more aware in the records of how I was looking to the past to determine what I would create in the future. And you know what that does? It recreates the same thing over and over again. And we just stay in the same patterns, or it slows our manifestations way down. So I started to have a deeper understanding, not just logically. That's the beautiful thing about the records. Like, I felt it in my body, I felt it on a cellular level. My energetic field got upgraded with these new codes of how I can create quantum leaps, quantum expansion when I tune into energy and frequency, and not just me, you as well. So I'm sharing this about my experience, but I've helped many, many clients accelerate their manifestations by playing in this energy. So, my iconic light worker mastermind is beginning this Thursday. And this is all about turning your business into a global movement by working with your soul blueprint. So, your birth chart, and tapping into your Akashic records and really discovering your style of leadership, the path and purpose you're here to walk out on the planet, your communication style, what makes you magnetic, the way that you receive. And we bring all of that together to create growth in your business, leading to more money, leading to greater impact, using your soul gift focus to create a beautiful change on this planet. So if you are interested in joining for that, and you're like, yeah, I want to build momentum these final 3 months and have it carry me through into 2026, message me iconic on social media. So reach out on Instagram or Facebook, message me iconic. I'd be happy to pass along all the details for you. So, with that being said, let's dive in a little bit more to these energies as I pull up the chart here and we take a closer look at the Aries full moon, and then we build it out from there because there is a lot going on this month and I want to share these energies beyond just the full moon. Like, I really want to support you in all that you desire to create an experience and just understanding the changes on the planet right now. So we have the moon at 14 degrees of Aries. It is opposing the sun at 14 degrees of Libra. That's what makes it a full moon. So we are currently in Libra season. So the full moon is working with the Libra Aries axes. So let's begin with this Aries energy. Here it is in the spotlight. It is the Aries full moon. If you have your natal moon in Aries, it is also your lunar return. So really powerful with a full moon here. It really, I mean, I'd have to see your chart to know all the details, but it definitely amplifies this element of releasing and clearing out the old energies. And if we look at the Aries archetype, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's all about sovereignty, trailblazing, the courage to try something new. And Aries has this beautiful ability and quality to simply go for it. There's a bravery there, there's a courage there, and that is what is required to create change. And Aries, sometimes it's criticized in the lower octave expression for being impulsive. And yes, it can manifest like that, but it also has this beautiful trait of not overthinking when it wants something. When it, like, Aries feels the heart just saying go for it, do it, lean in, say yes. It doesn't spend too much time overthinking, it just leans in and does it. And there's power in that, because often if we spend too much time in our mind, fear will come in. Fear programming will come in, and it'll actually, this is where we can get it confused with intuition. If we sit with something too long and we start going in circles in our mind, guaranteed that old programming is going to come up. So Aries really teaches us to have courage, to lean in. We don't need to know how, we don't need all the answers. We just need to follow that calling of our heart, to trust ourself. Aries is the sign of the self, really building that confidence. But again, courage often comes first. Don't wait around for confidence. And if you have courage, you will build confidence over time as you collect new evidence around what is possible when you have courage, when you have bravery. So a question I want to put to you is, what have you been holding off on in your life that you know it's time to take action on, make a new decision around? Can you lean into your inner courage and bravery this full moon and go for it? No more waiting to be ready. If you're waiting to feel ready, and this applies to any area of your life, you're waiting to feel ready to start the business, you're waiting to feel ready to release your new program, you're waiting to feel ready to travel around the world, to start a family, like, are you ever really fully going to feel ready? Or some things we just have to say yes and lean in and go for it, not from impulsivity, but from that wisdom of our heart and our intuition. So Aries energy is compatible with Libra. All the opposing signs are compatible, yet they represent opposite traits. But when we learn that, okay, I got to honor both and bring them together, that's where the beauty is. So Libra is all about relationships. It's about the connections in our life. And since we are in Libra season, we're playing with this energy throughout Libra season, and it really places the spotlight on the quality of our relationships. And part of the scales, the balance, it is about fairness and harmony and justice with the Libra energy. And it's also about the balance between self and others. So I've done many, many readings at this point in my life, and I've noticed that people with a lot of Libra energy, what can sometimes happen is they forget the self. They're very other focused. They are a master at connecting with other people. I always say Libra is one of the most beloved signs in the zodiac. They're the relationship sign. They know how to connect. They know how to create peace. They know how to create harmony. They know how to tune into other people's energy and mind, and they know how to create that connection, basically. Great mediators. They're able to see the other side of things. But the shadow side of that can be they completely forget themselves and what they need or to advocate for themselves. So, this Libra energy is about finding that balance. And this Libra full moon can place that spotlight in your relationships. Where do you feel it is out of balance? Where are you overgiving? Where are you maybe not allowing yourself to receive? Or where are you giving from a space of expectation and looking at, I give so much. I give so much. It's my time to receive, right? So, looking at those dynamics and also any codependency, where you're, and this is a bigger theme right now. This theme of codependence or entanglement of energy that I referred to at the beginning of the video as well. So, specifically around this Aries full moon, we're looking at the relationships in our life with clients, with mentors, with our friends, even with our family members, all relationships. And where there may be a codependency at play, where we could be taking on other people's fears or other people's opinions, even and thinking they're true to who we are. And like those lines can get very kind of blurry if we're not aware of who we are. And that's where the Aries archetype comes in, the Aries energy of knowing the self. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, Libra is the seventh. We have to master that relationship of knowing ourselves in order to fully create harmony in our relationships. We got to know who we are, what we value, what we stand for, what our boundaries are, in order to create that harmony in our relationships. There is another element here that I love to talk about with Libra energy that involves beauty. Beauty. Libra is ruled by Venus, the sign, the goddess of love and beauty and prosperity, and really looking at how you're creating beauty in your life and like the frequency of beauty, what that means for you. I know personally, like I love fashion, I love to decorate, but I'm also a Taurus moon, so I love to just like be out in nature. You know, what's more beautiful than nature, right? Especially where I am this time of year, the changing leaves, it's just so gorgeous. So, this Libra season is about infusing our life with beauty and even just being curious about what does that mean for you? And maybe part of that can be clearing some of the clutter. The reason I say that is if we look at the ruler right now, Venus in Virgo, it can still be maybe clearing the clutter, clearing that space could be a big part of it. Okay, let's go a little further here with this idea of being in our sovereignty right now and being very aware of the energies we may be taking on from the collective. And then we're going to look at some other pieces more closely related to the Aries energy in this full moon as well. So the North Node, 18 degrees of Pisces, this is where we are. This is such a pivotal point for the collective. We are clearing out so much collective karma right now. And what often happens with that, it has to come to the surface first. We have an awareness of it. You know, ideally to fully clear that karma and pattern, we take the lesson. We take the lesson so we can move forward differently. And we are certainly doing that on the planet right now. We're moving forward differently as a collective. So a lot of what's been buried under the surface really has to come to light. There's a lot of karma that closes off with the North Node in Pisces. It's powerful. What this can also kind of contribute to, or what we may be feeling here, especially as I look at this Neptune placement now at the, 0 degrees of Aries here, there can feel like a little bit or a lot, perhaps, of like haziness or indecision or uncertainty or fear around where we're going. And I think it's because a lot of us haven't really fostered that deep connection with our spirituality, with our higher self, with our spirit team, with source energy. We haven't taken the time to cultivate that relationship. And when we're dealing, when we're working with a lot of Piscean energy, Saturn at 27 in Pisces, Neptune's been doing this dance. So it's now at 0 degrees of Aries. So we are seeing that new timeline, that new cycle opening as well. But the Piscean energy in the lower expression can be confusion, can be haziness, can be like we're walking through this fog. And I had a mentor early on in my business, and I love this like analogy he used. And he was not into astrology. Astrology was always my thing. But I equate that with kind of the lower octave Piscean energy. So he used this example of if you're walking in a fog, which can be a confusion that we have in our business, right? And we're not sure what direction to go, and you stand still, the fog gets thicker, the fog gets heavier, the confusion deepens. But as soon as you take that first step, the fog gradually lifts. And this energy, I feel, speaks to that. And the yes, this can be in your business. Maybe you're going in circles, questioning what program do I release next, feeling stuck, maybe getting beautiful results, but you still know there's so much more. This could also be in other areas of your life, like relationships. Again, Libra season and other aspects, your relationships are a big theme. And there's this haziness, and we can't figure it out in our mind right now. We have to trust our intuition. We have to take action. That's what these energies are calling us to do, not from a rushed, chaotic space, but taking that next step. And then as we take the next step, new information comes in, and then we have the information needed to take the next. So many people wait to feel like they have all the pieces lined up and in order before they take action, but it just doesn't work that way. You take one step at a time, and each step you take brings new evidence, brings new information, brings new resources to you. So let's look at some other things that are really jumping out at this for me with this chart. So the ruler of the Aries energy is Mars. We currently have Mars in Scorpio, Mercury, very beginning degrees of Scorpio here. And Mars actually co-rules Aries and Scorpio. So Mars in Scorpio is very powerful. Mars in Scorpio is expressed very differently than it is in Aries, but both are very potent energies. Anytime a planet is in its home sign, it is extra powerful. So as we come into Q4, there's a lot of energy here to really bring momentum to your projects, to your life, to your goals. If you feel like you just want to give up on the goals you set at the beginning of the year, the vision you have, the New Year's resolutions, don't. I would always say don't, of course not. But these cosmic energies are bringing new life to it and new insight. Mars in Scorpio is just so brilliant because it gives Mars an element of depth that it doesn't have in Aries. Mars in Scorpio is able to see the shadow. And seeing the shadow is so key to creating change. We need to see the shadow in the collective consciousness, which is surfacing right now. It's going to surface more throughout October and November for sure. But we need to bring that into the light so it can be transformed. If we're just trying to keep it in the closet and not acknowledge it, it actually runs the show even more. And we know that in our personal life, any trauma we haven't healed, beliefs we haven't explored, are actually really driving the results we get and the actions we take and how we see ourselves. And once we have acknowledgement of it, once it comes into our awareness, a new choice point opens up for us. So that really happens with Mars and Scorpio. It's so instinctive too, like trust your instincts. Mercury there is such a brilliant, I say brilliant, it is. It's a deep communicator. It can read people. Like when I see this in someone's chart, I'm like, wow, you have the ability to see beyond facades to like the truth and heart of who someone is. So as we collectively work with those energies, we're seeing beyond the facade. We're seeing the truth. Scorpio likes to bring things to light, really seeing the truth. The other element that places a focus on relationships, which is already very much present, I mean, Sun in Libra, Moon in Aries, that's a relationship self-axis, relationship with ourselves, relationship with others. So we also have the South Node very close to Venus right now, and Venus is the planet of relationship, and the South Node there can be releasing outdated soul agreements. There's definitely an awareness at play in your relationships at this time. So even with the Mars energy, it's like we're able to see a little deeper what those dynamics are in the relationships in our life. And again, what we're getting entangled with that we can't, and I know if you're here, everyone that finds their way to this video, you have a huge heart. You love people and you love this planet and you have a vision of like more harmony and more peace and more connection. And sometimes we can, come into people's life and just want to fix or change or help. And that's, maybe not the fixing energy, but that desire to help and support is huge. And we really have to recognize with this energy here that there may be some karma playing out for people. And I don't say that in a punishing way. Another way to say this would be like soul agreements, soul lessons they're learning. And we can't just sweep in and try to take that from people. We can be there as loving support, but we also need to have our boundaries and our sovereignty too. The last aspect I want to mention here is Jupiter moving through Cancer continues to form a pretty close square, especially at the time of this full moon with Chiron in the sign of Aries. And this can be deep healing in our relationships and emotional healing and even an awareness of where we may be holding back, where we may be waiting to feel ready. Chiron in Aries is where we're doubting ourselves, or we're waiting to be invited to the table instead of just creating the table and gathering people together. Like, where are you waiting in your life? Where is it time to move, make a new decision, take action, remember your power? Aries is all about remembering our power. There's affirmations or like quotes I have with each of the zodiac sign that always has come to my mind. And one of my favorites for Aries is, I am greater than any obstacle that comes my way. I will forever and always rise up, because I see Aries as the warrior, the warrioress. So challenges and obstacles come along, but that's okay because we are stronger. So really dig into that. You are stronger than any obstacle. You will forever and always rise up. So that is our Aries full moon. Let me know what resonated and landed with you in the comments. Again, say hi, subscribe. And if you're feeling called to a supportive community, this is time to get your soul gifts out into the world in bigger ways to grow your business in ways that are aligned with your blueprint, your unique birth chart, as well as your Akashic records. Message me iconic. I'd be happy to share all the details about this space. Sending you all so much love. Full moon blessings, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.